Good afternoon. Welcome back with the Proving Grounds. We're going to discuss a very unique handgun here today. We're going to discuss the Taurus Judge. A lot of people say the Judge is a novelty. It's not truly useful. There's a lot of bad talk about this weapon. So let's talk about how I feel about it today. Let's talk about how an outdoorsman, sportsman will look at it, because I don't necessarily feel that way. So we're going to pull this out here, and I'm going to show you here that it's clear. There's no rounds in the cylinder or in the chamber, YouTube, so we're safe, okay? So let's talk about this. This is your standard Taurus Judge, chambered with a 2.5-inch cylinder. It is not the Judge Magnum. It is not the Raging Judge. It will shoot the 45 Colt or 45 Long Colt or 2.5-inch 410 shotgun shells. As a sportsman, as an outdoorsman, I find this useful for a lot of reasons, and I'm about to show you why. So stay with us and let's see what this thing can do. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different rounds this weapon can shoot. What I love about this weapon is that the options are pretty much limitless. They're only limited by the imagination of whoever manufactures the ammunition, because it will shoot a pistol caliber cartridge and it will also shoot a shotgun shell, and we all know how versatile shotgun shells can be. So first thing we're going to look at here is your standard 45 Colt. This is a Hornady lever evolution. This is a polymer tip round. It's 225 grain, and it shoots at 950 feet per second at 100 yards. Inside of 100, you're a little faster. Out of a Judge, you're a little slower because it's only got a 3-inch barrel on this particular pistol. So it's a pretty hefty round at 225 grains. I think you'll find anything in North America at close range, it will stop. And I'll give you a look at the round here really quick. This is what the round looks like. It's pretty thick. It's got the red polymer tip. It's a pretty hefty round. So that's it for that one. So let's go to the next one. We can also go to your standard 410 birdshot. This is 8-shot, half-ounce Winchester target ammunition. It's just a 2.5-inch 410 birdshot shell. Then we'll go to your standard 410 high velocity buckshot. This is 1,100 feet per second, 2.5-inch double-aught buck. Now we can get into some of the defense rounds that are actually designed for this pistol for personal defense. A lot of people think every pistol is a personal defense tool, but you're going to find here that some of them, like the Judge, are not just for that. But let's go over some of the personal defense round. This is Federal Personal Defense Buckshot. It's a 410, 2.5-inch, 850 feet per second, 4 pellets of triple-aught buck. Then we get into the Hornady Critical Defense, and this is a uniquely designed round. It has 1 slug and 2 buckshot pellets behind it, and it is traveling at 750 feet a second with 300 foot-pounds at impact. Has 2 .35 caliber balls and 1 .41 caliber slug. And now we have the Winchester Defender. It has 3 plates in it. They look like copper pucks, followed by 12 copper-plated BBs. This is for close range personal defense. It's 2.5-inch, velocity 750 feet a second. So we're going to take a look at these and we're going to see what these do. We're going to find out, is it a myth or does it work? What are they good for defense purposes, and what are they good for outside doing outside activities like hunting, fishing? Okay? So let's get to it. So the first round we're going to start with here today is going to be the Hornady Lever Evolution 225 grain polymer tip 45 Colt or 45 Long Colt. Notice we have our safety gear on. We have our glasses, and we're going to have our hearing protection on. Let's make sure we do that every time we shoot, okay? We're safe, YouTube, we're safe. So let's take a look at what this 45 Colt Lever Evolution do. And a full disclaimer, I'm not a professional shooter, okay? So take it easy on me. We're clear. Weapon holstered. So let's go up closer. Let's take a look at what that did. All right, so after 5 rounds of the Hornady Lever Evolution polymer tip, 225 grain, 45 Colt, I noticed the first 2 rounds I was shooting went off to the left just a little bit, and that 3-inch barrel, every round acts a little different through every gun. So I started aiming about right here on the outside of this circle, and they dialed in pretty close. There's 2 rounds almost on top of each other here, and there's a third out here. So it held a pretty good group. The recoil was pretty good. I mean, on those Lever Evolutions, it's pretty good. 45 Colt, a lot of people say it's an underpowered cartridge. I disagree in this case. I think that any aggressive predatory animal that you may meet up with in the woods in the southeast United States, or even in the northeast United States, I haven't ever hunted out west, I don't know, but this would probably neutralize that threat. And for personal defense, let's be honest, 225 grains coming at you with a polymer tip at 1,000 feet a second will probably neutralize any human threat as well. So I say that's probably an 8 out of 10. I mean, a lot of stopping power, and pretty accurate too. That's only an 8-inch circle. So that's at 30 feet, 10 yards. All right, so this is your Hornady Critical Defense round. This is the one with the 1 slug, 41 caliber, and 2 30 caliber, 38 caliber pellets behind it. This is what that looks like in a 410 shotgun shell. It's high brass, 2.5 inch, somewhere around 1,000 feet a second. So let's see what they do. Okay, so that's the Hornady Critical Defense, 10 feet. Okay, so this is a critical defense round. This is for defending yourself in a life or death situation, not for hunting. So over 95% of all altercations with firearms that are deadly occur within 10 feet. So that's what we did here. As you can see, it only dropped a few rounds out of there, but look at the devastation. That's 3 rounds, not 5. That's just 3 pulls of the trigger. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 out of 10, or 6 out of 9 that hit in an 8-inch spot at 10 feet away. I mean, that's a lot of devastation. So again, that's a very creative round for a very specific purpose. All right, so here we are with the Winchester self-defense round, and that's what this looks like. It's high brass as well, 2.5 inch. It's a little shiny, it's pretty, but let's find out what this will do. Same distance as the other round, the Hornady round, and let's find out what this one will do like versus the other one. Okay, so that is a lot of damage. You can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very tight group right at 10 feet. And if you look closely, the BBs that are following that, the copper plated BBs are everywhere. It blew the paint off the shooting sea. That's a serious round. Try to argue against that for self-defense in your home. Try to argue against that. I mean, I don't know what the argument would be. All right, so this is a federal triple-aught buck personal defense round. So let's see what that looks like right there. It's red, also high brass, 2.5 inch at 1,100 feet a second. So let's see what the triple-aught buck will do. All right, so the federal triple-aught buck, that's 2 rounds. 2 rounds of that, same distance. And so look at the group. And again, I'm not a trained marksman. I'm just a guy that hunts and fishes a lot, okay? That's 10 feet away. I don't think anyone can argue with that grouping. It lost none. There's no strays. It's an effective round, so I think it did well. All right, so this is just double-aught buck. This would be something that you would hunt with. This is actually manufactured as a hunting round for the 410. 2.5 inch, that's what this round looks like. High brass as well, but obviously less pellets. So let's take a look at what it'll do. Okay, so that's the Aguila buckshot. Not a fan. The groups are not tight. They're pretty random and loose, but I mean, it is an 8-inch target at 10 feet. In a pinch it'll work, but not a fan for hunting at all. All right, so we're gonna go to the Winchester bird shot, the 2.5-inch 8-shot, and we're gonna see what this looks like at 10 feet, okay? All right, so like you can see, it had a massive spread, but every single time I pulled the trigger, it did hit very near where I wanted it to be. So it's effective for small game up close. I wouldn't really call it effective for hunting small game, but I am going to show you something as a fisherman. I think you're going to like to see. If you're in the backwoods down here in North Carolina or even south of here, you understand that venomous snakes are a serious problem, right? So we're going to step back here and I'm going to show you why I think the Judge is such a good utility tool for an outdoorsman. So you saw the destruction it had for defending yourself against wild animals, predatory wild animals, and even in a self-defense situation. But I'm now going to simulate as if I were standing here and there was a rattlesnake right there. We good? All right, so there's a rattlesnake here. I'm just a few feet away from this. That would be very difficult to hit in time with a 9mm or a 22 or anything else you might carry. So I'm pulling this out and I'm just going to shoot. Boom. Boom. I think we all agree, by looking at this up close, that without pulling the hammer back, without aiming with two hands, just a few feet away, several feet away, that you wouldn't have a problem dispatching the threat of a venomous snake while you're fishing. And that would be important to me, because that's something that could cause you serious health problems. So that's why I think the Taurus Judge is such a great utility tool for outdoorsmen. Okay, so the Taurus Judge. I just went through a bunch of tests with a bunch of ammunition. I think the Aguila was a little sketchy, but I think we can all agree by the demonstration that a lot of what you saw was effective. And is it a combat pistol? No. Is it tactical or tactical? Nope. But is it a tool? Yes, it is. It's an effective tool if employed in the right manner. If you deploy this as it's intended to be used, and that's for multi-purpose, it's a very versatile tool. And that's what every weapon is. Every gun should be a tool, right? Nobody's out there looking to do damage with these, or you shouldn't be. But they are useful tools. And as an outdoorsman who fishes and hunts, I think we can all agree, just by watching this video, that this is a useful tool in a lot of different scenarios. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow here. I'm trying to get something going so where I can show you some more demonstrations. The only way I can do that is if you like, subscribe, and share. Thank you all for watching.